Hey, what's up fam, it's G.Skill or Vilton here, and like I said in my update video yesterday, I am going to be posting PC build guides every Sunday, so I wanted to start off this series with the ever so popular $500 budget. Anyways, to start off this build, for the processor I chose the Intel i3-4170 dual-core CPU with a price tag of $117. This CPU is clocked at 3.7 GHz. Yes, it is a dual-core processor, but it does have hyper-threading, which technically makes it a Mach 4 core, which means Windows recognizes it as a quad-core CPU, as well as hyper-threading makes the CPU perform really well in games. I do believe the i3-4170 performs better in games than its AMD counterpart, the AMD FX 6300. The only downside of this CPU is it's not going to perform the best at video editing, live streaming, multitasking, because it's a dual-core processor. But you can do a little bit of video editing, but I would recommend using a GPU for low render times. For the motherboard, I went with the ASRock H970M Pro 4 ATX LGA 1150 motherboard for $60. This is a LGA 1150 motherboard. It has 4 RAM slots of DDR3, which has a max of 32 gigabytes. It has RAID support, crossfire support, which you don't really need because this is a $500 build. It has SATA 6 gigabit ports, onboard USB 3. And overall, this is a really good motherboard for this price range. One of the reasons I decided to go Intel on this build is if you decide to upgrade the CPU down the road to an i5 or an i7, you can save the money by using this motherboard in the future, which I really like. Anyways, onto the RAM, I chose the G.Skill Aries 8GB DDR3 1600 MHz memory for $35. This is two 4GB sticks of RAM running at 1600 MHz, and currently it's one of the best RAM to pick up in the market for $35. I think on Newegg you can even dock the price down to like $28, I think. But anyways, this is for a 500 budget build. 8 GB is the exact amount you need. You don't need 16 GB or more. Also, the RAM color is blue to match the motherboard color, which I really like. For storage, I went with the Seagate Barracuda 1TB hard drive, 7200 RPM with a price tag of $48. This is a 3.5-inch hard drive, and this is one TB hard drive, so it should be plenty enough to store all your games, movies, videos, porn, etc. So obviously no SSD in this build because it's too expensive and it's not enough storage for games and whatnot, so yeah. Anyways, on to the graphics card. I went with the Zotac GeForce GTX 950 2GB video card for $150. This is a great mid-range GPU for entry-level 1080p gaming. Yes, it's not going to max out most games, but if you turn the settings down to high or medium, or even mix and match between high and medium, you will get great performance. This GPU will definitely perform really well in games like Fallout 4, Battlefront, Call of Duty Black Ops 3, Witcher 3, Just Cause 3, GTA 5, etc. You can even take a look at some of these graphs on the screen, and you can see how well this card performs. Keep in mind that these graphs do stress test the GPU at max settings, so you can see that Witcher 3 runs around 28 FPS at like maxed out settings. So if you decide to turn the settings down to high and turn anti-aliasing off and stuff like that, you should definitely get a good playable frame rate of 40 FPS. For the power supply, I chose the EVGA 500W ATX non-modular power supply for $40. 500 watts is a great amount to go with for a $500 budget build. It will be enough to power all the components in this build. Also, in the future, if you do decide to upgrade components like your GPU to a GTX 960 or a 970, this power supply should definitely be enough to power those video cards. And lastly, for the case, I chose the Corsair 100R ATX mid-tower with a price tag of $49. This ATX mid-tower has a side panel window to show off the internals, because I know everybody likes side panels. It has a great airflow, front panel USB 3, 7 PCI slots, even a fan controller. It has good cable management, and it looks really sleek with all the black finish, and overall just a really good ATX mid-tower. Usually I don't like budget cases, but the Corsair 100R is one of the best cases out in the market for $49, so definitely pick it up. Anyways, that's it guys. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.